Hey guys, so this week I've been playing Call of Duty Black Ops, which if you don't know is the latest game in the Call of Duty series. They do like one of these a year, and this is this year's version. So is it any different than last year's version or the year before that or anything like that? Well, here's my opinion. Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 is set in the dark future of global cyber warfare and tiny little helicopters shooting people. A couple years back, the world superpowers were like, nah, what the hell, we'll just get robots to kill everybody. It's easier that way. But then this guy Menendez shows up and he's all like, haha, now I control the robots. So now it's up to you and your ragtag group of meat sacks to defeat all the robots and try and retake the robots so that you can have robots? Something like that. Also, you got daddy issues, so you gotta play as your daddy sometimes and be all like, Menendez, something, I don't know what's going on in the game. I mean, story schmory, right? You know, who cares about that in Call of Duty? Let's talk about the action. Is it got all that action that we expect? Or is it like, bah, smash, explosions? And the answer is most emphatically, oh, hell yeah! The game does a really good job of taking like the standard Call of Duty narrative and action-packed gameplay and putting it into this sort of pseudo-cyberpunky dystopian future. The game follows the traditional, you get a bunch of guns, you shoot all the terrorists, and yay! But it's all the weapons and gadgets that you use that make it feel sort of futuristic. Sometimes it's just like the scope that can find targets or kind of get the lay of the land, or some of the different grenades like EMP grenades or the wrist-mounted ones, and occasionally you get a little robot dude to follow you and shoot all the bad guys. And the game's not so far into the future that you don't recognize the guns. You got assault rifles and shotguns and pistols and all that kind of stuff, but they're kind of future ones that haven't been made yet. And occasionally during the campaign you'll do some of the more cool stuff, like you get a wingsuit so you can like fly like a squirrel through the air and be all like, woo, this is awesome. Or maybe take control of a robot turret and like just mow down everybody. But, pretty standard sort of Call of Duty action-y stuff. But as kind of an interesting juxtaposition, about a third of the missions follow Alex Mason from Call of Duty Black Ops 1 back in like the 80s, fighting in Afghanistan and I think Colombia or something. Which is an interesting decision for a Call of Duty game because the only reason why they send you there is for story elements and not gameplay elements. Like, why would you go in the past in a future robot game? But those sections are just as fun as all the other sections, even though you don't have awesome robots. Firing rockets from horses. That seems legitimate. One of the cool things they've added to the game is the idea of choice, because Call of Duty campaigns tend to be very linear. You don't get to choose anything. If anything happens in the campaign, it's because it was supposed to. This time around, there's actually choices that your character gets to make. Sometimes they are just kill this guy or don't kill this guy, but there's a couple of these decisions that are actually kind of subtle and you don't realize you're actually making a choice. Let's say you're in the middle of a car chase and your partner's like, hey, watch out for that fire. If you actually drive through the fire because you suck at driving, your partner's face gets all burned and the rest of the game he's got this weird, like, half-scarred face, and that's your fault. The choices don't affect, like, which missions come up next or anything like that, but it does really change the ending of the game. Besides the typical campaign missions, they also added Strike Force missions. The Strike Force missions are kind of like a real-time strategy because you're the commander trying to defend this area with the soldiers that you have, and at any point you can like switch between different soldiers or robots and fight alongside, or go to like a big view and like order your soldiers around. Overall, the campaign is a lot of fun, and it has all the elements that you look for in a Call of Duty, and some pretty interesting story stuff as well. But a lot of people don't play Call of Duty for the story, they play it for the multiplayer. So, what's the multiplayer like? Well, it's Call of Duty multiplayer. It's the same kind of multiplayer you've been playing for years, which is fine because they didn't have to change all that much. They changed a few things, but overall, it's pretty much Call of Duty multiplayer. And of course, the community behind Call of Duty's multiplayer is still the bastion of tolerance and friendship that it always was. Alongside the traditional multiplayer, they've brought back zombie mode, so you can kill all those zombies and repair structures and buy weapons and all that kind of stuff. It's fun, arcadey stuff. It's not my favorite thing, but it's good. There's a hell of a lot of content in this game. The single-player campaign's a number of hours, some good playthrough on that, and maybe a little replay value. Multiplayer, billion-teen hours, and it's got zombie mode as well, so it's got a lot of stuff going for it. So if you're looking for a game that's one of these Call of Duty types of games where you shoot people that you can play a lot and get, a lot for your $60, $70, whatever you pay for it, this is probably the one to get. This is probably my second favorite. I still love Modern Warfare 2 the best, but this gets the closest to Modern Warfare 2, I think, in my opinion. But the heck of a lot of fun going through this game, playing through this game, shooting all the dudes. It's a good game, and I would suggest that maybe you go out and get it, unless you hate these types of games.
I don't mean to sound sexist or anything, but I just don't think it's fair that I don't get likes and favorites like some other YouTube channels just because they have talented people that do good content. I mean, it's a bunch of crap.